IR, we need to remember, is not simply about listing facts and current affairs. It is about showing how India navigates the present world order, which is in flux. So Pakistan as a topic will continue to be quite relevant. Then you have Bangladesh in context of the regime change. Nepal, also we have KP Oli government. Nepal, important neighborhood. Sri Lanka and Maldives. UPSC always wants to know why. It is not interested so much in mere description. Can quote External Affairs Ministry, S. Ajay Shankar, PM Modi, the heads of the government and heads of state of the various countries, their foreign ministers can be quoted. Please do not miss out on questions because of sheer time mismanagement. Hello dear students. So we are in the final leg of of the examination process in terms of the fact that mains is fast approaching. Yes, so it is in this context we have come out with an initiative where we are trying to tell you the important points to remember before you go attempting this year's paper. Yes, so I am here to discuss about IR. So as we all know, the mains is fast approaching, and consequently the final few words of advice that we would want to share. Most importantly, what are the challenges that are faced by students during this exam as far as attempting IR questions is concerned? Yes, so you find that IR, we need to remember, is not simply about listing facts and current affairs. It is about showing how India navigates the present world order, which is in flux. Yes, so we need to emphasize in our IR answer not just a chronology of events. Rather, we need to bring in India's perspective, irrespective of whether it is asked or not. Yes, so in an answer which lacks India's perspective is lacking in the desired content. Yes, also there is a missing linkage often in the answers when it comes to domestic priorities and foreign policy. So you have to identify, you have to in your answers do mention India's foreign policy initiative, India's neighborhood first policy, Vision Sagar, Vision Mahasagar, Look East policy, Look West policy. Yes, the dehyphenation that India has done between Israel and Palestine, whatever. So you have to mention India's policies, government of India's policy, and also highlight domestic priority of India. So as far as Russia-Ukraine war, maybe it is not this war is not a matter of priority for India, but of course energy security is very much a matter of priority for India. We reserve the right to procure the cheapest oil that is available for Indians. Yes, so such ideas you have to emphasize on the foreign policy, on the domestic priority. Yes, generally another challenge that we face in the IR answers is that there are few data that is quoted. Yes, few quotes or few official references. So wherever possible, see there are only 4 questions that are going to be asked in mains. So wherever possible, you can quote the data. So what is the percentage of oil that India presently purchases from Russia, for example? What was India's procurement prior to the sanctions which were imposed on Russia because of Russia-Ukraine war? So such data if we can provide. Yes, so various procurements that government of India does, yes, you can come out with the required data. For example, the trade that traverses the Indian Ocean region, the Indian trade which traverses, say, the South China Sea. So based on the question that is asked, If a data is relevant, please provide that. Indus Water Treaty, the various datas. If a question on Indus Water Treaty comes, you need to mention the data. Yes, give certain official references. What is Government of India is saying, the statements by maybe S. Jaishankar, by PM Modi, you can quote them. Yes, and weak structuring is another major challenge that we find that students face. Yes, there has to be a flow in your answer, and that you need to make sure. How do you make that sure is, I guess by this time you have practiced enough, but anyways, by reading the question clearly. Yes, reading the question clearly, identify the keywords and key phrases. Once you do that, in the question itself, if you can maybe number it, I will discuss this aspect of the question, point 1, then I will discuss this aspect, so number it 2, number it 3, and number 4, maybe I'll discuss challenges, and number 5, my way forward, with which I'll conclude. So there has to be a sequence that you follow, and that sequence should, you should have that sequence ready in your mind before you start writing your answers. Yes, do not think that it will spontaneously flow. Make that effort, and of course, apart from it, the answers would flow. Anyways, let me once again emphasize what is generally lacking. What are the issues that we find students when they write the IR answers? First is lack of India's perspective. Irrespective of a question demands India's perspective or not. Say a question on the ouster of Sheikh Hasina government, the regime change in Bangladesh. Maybe supposedly a question has come which does not directly ask you to discuss its impact on India. But then there cannot be an answer on this question without discussing its impact on India. So any question on IR, as I have once again previously said, there are going to be only 4 questions. So out of, in those 4 questions, on those 4 issues, we will mention India's interest, India's policy, India's perspective. Yes, that is what makes that IR answer from civil services examination perspective, from a perspective of prospective civil servants of India writing that answers. Yes, so you have to bring in that India perspective. Yes, you have to talk about the foreign policy as well as domestic priority of India. Wherever possible, bring in the data. Yes, bring in the references, Ministry of External Affairs, PM Modi, S. Ajay Shankar, and ensure that there is good structuring, there is a flow to your answers. Yes, few important topics to revise. So now this is once again an important question that several students keep coming, yes, and wanting to know which are the important topics to revise, because yes, at the end moment, we cannot go through the entire bunch of notes that we have in our hands. Of course, we would want to prioritize certain topics. Yes, so as far as IR is concerned, first we are mentioning India and the neighborhood. Of course, Pakistan is going to be quite important in context of Operation Sindoor, in context of Indus Water Treaty. Now we have said that we will put the Indus Water Treaty in abeyance, and similarly, Pakistan has also said that they put Shimla Agreement, which we had signed in 1972, in abeyance. Yes, so of course, Pakistan, it sponsoring terrorism, cross-border terrorism, what has been India's response, how the response this time around is different from the previous responses. Yes, what should we do, how to counter terrorism, this cross-border terrorism that is emanating from Pakistan. Yes, so do we have a foreign policy vis-a-vis Pakistan? Pakistan, the permanent foreign policy conundrum for India. So Pakistan as a topic will continue to be quite relevant. Then you have Bangladesh in context of the regime change. Nepal, also we have KP Oli government. Nepal, important neighborhood. Sri Lanka and Maldives. Yes, on Maldives, a question was asked last year. But anyways, Maldives will continue to be relevant in context of Modi's visit to Maldives, and this immense focus that within a period of 1 year almost 1 year, a little more than 1 year, we have been able to reset our relations. Yes, so when Mohammad Mizu got elected as the president of Maldives in October 2023, our relations, we were apprehensive about the relations, and in the very start it seemed that the relation is going downhill. But you find that since October 2024 visit of Mohammad Mizu to India, the financial assistance that India has provided to Maldives, there seems to be a resetting of the bilateral ties, so much so that PM Modi visited Maldives in context of the of their recent celebrations. Yes, fine. So it is in this context, all these countries would remain relevant. Bhutan also, do not ignore Bhutan. What is the significance of Bhutan in terms of border negotiations between India, between Bhutan and China? As such, you find current affairs ke context mein you have Pakistan, Bangladesh, and I would say Maldives continue to be quite relevant. Major powers. So major powers may you have US, very, very relevant. Then in terms of the technological and defense ties that India has, Trump's tariff threats and the tariffs and the penalty rates that they have, reciprocal tariffs and the penalties that Trump has imposed. How does it impact India-US relations going forward? Yes, once again, it seems that these threats might undo the progress of the bilateral ties that we have made in the past 25 years. So past 25 years have been a story of good relations, but right now the relations is under stress because of these tariffs imposed by Trump. So that may be emphasized. Russia, once again, the oil imports that we are doing from Russia, how Russia is a very, very important country for us, dear friend for us. S. Jaishankar's statement that in this era of global uncertainty, this bilateral tie is a cause of stability, is a cause of certainty. Russia being the time-tested friend of India. So Russia, how India-Russia relations is very, very important. Also on Russia, they have not asked a bilateral question. As long as I can foresee, yes, past 10 years, I don't think so there has been a direct bilateral question on India-Russia relations. They have asked it in context of, say, US defense ties between India-US, compare it to defense ties between India-Russia. So India-Russia can be one probable areas from which question might be asked. How Russia is so very important that we cannot compromise on Russia. Russia is not Iran or Venezuela, on which India had previously compromised as far as secondary sanction of US was concerned. So that would remain relevant. Then China. China is a ever relevant topic. And of course, it becomes once again quite relevant in context of October 2024 agreement that we signed with China. The agreement on patrolling arrangement, which marks the beginning of thaw in bilateral ties. Yes, apart from it, one question which is generally or one area which is generally in focus is the trade deficit that India has with China, which is almost touching $100 billion. Apart from it, SCO and BRICS, है ना, तो China के साथ engagement on the platforms of SCO and BRICS. SCO, they've asked questions, and I think so twice they've already asked question. BRICS, in the recent years at least, they've not asked a question on India-BRICS relation, or BRICS as a grouping would be important. So when we discuss BRICS, you might pay a little attention to IPSA, India, Brazil, South Africa, trilateral. So IPSA started first. It was an Indian initiative, the brainchild of the then Indian foreign minister in 2003 when it started. And you find that BRICS first summit was held in 2009 in Yekaterinburg. Yes, how South Africa came, now expansion of the membership, relevance of BRICS for India, what are the challenges as far as BRICS and India. You know, from India's perspective, engagement with BRICS, how is it becoming challenging? All that needs to be focused. Then of course, West Asia in context of Israel-Hamas crisis, becomes very, very relevant. Also, there have been, Israel has bombed the nuclear facilities of Iran. US joined in. Yes, so they have bombed 3 nuclear facilities of Iran, the US. Fine, so it is in this context. Once again, the entire West Asia is in focus, and a question can be asked on, say, India Iran relation, and a deterioration of the ties between US and Iran. How does it impact India Iran relations? Yes, India Israel ties, where do they stand? We have had one of the most pro-Israeli government in Indian history in power in the recent years, but the ongoing crisis, Israel-Palestinian crisis, where does it leave India? What is India's position on Palestinian issue historically? What has been the position? How has it changed or has it not changed? What is the reason for the same? Yes, and then India and the Gulf region generally as one block becomes important. It is the biggest trading partner of India. GCC becomes a source of India's energy security as well. So India and the Gulf in general. So next area is India and Indo-Pacific. Yeah, so Indo-Pacific may you have South China Sea might be relevant. India-Japan ties are generally relevant. Japan is a global power. But once again, twice a question on India-Japan has already been asked. But anyways, India-Japan, Quad, ASEAN, yes, India's ties with ASEAN, and strategic partnership with the Philippines will be relevant. All these topics you might pay a little attention to while you are revising at the last moment. Yes, apart from it, you have the multilateral and global issues. So UN reforms. Relevance of UN can be an important question. Yes, because in context of Russia-Ukraine war, Israel-Hamas crisis, all such crises that have been going on, these conflicts, what relevance does UN have? Yes, apart from it, there is a lot of instability. There is Rohingya crisis. So human rights वगैरह के context में भी what is the relevance of UN? I always emphasize any question on relevance of UN will not evaluate UN only in terms of its role as far as peace and security is concerned. But UN has 3 mandates identified in the UN Charter. One is global peace and security. The second is protection of human rights, and third is promotion of development. So across these 3 parameters, you will evaluate the importance or relevance of UN. And when we evaluate the relevance of UN, of course, you will evaluate it in the current perspective of these conflicts, of the ongoing human rights violations and all such issues. However, you need not limit yourself to the immediate timeline. Not just 2-3 years, we can stretch back. So maybe UN's relevance in preventing a third world war. Yes, so all that can also be brought in. So you have that with, but of course, you cannot miss out on the current aspect. Fine, then WTO reform and trade dispute. WTO will continue to be relevant. US blocking appointment to the appellate tribunal. WTO becoming increasingly irrelevant. Yes, in fact, vis-a-vis WTO, this threat of deglobalization, economic fragmentation. Yes, so a fundamental change in the world order. We are moving towards the protectionist world order, decline of multilateralism, rise of plurilaterals, minilaterals, all that will become relevant. Yes, then is the climate diplomacy. Climate diplomacy generally remains important, and India's role in climate diplomacy will be important. North-South debate as far as climate diplomacy. What is the point of view of the South? What is the point of view of North? What is the role of India? How India has taken a leadership role as far as climate change diplomacy. In the past and even presently, India has launched a number of initiatives. Yes, to tackle the threat of climate change, such as International Solar Alliance, One Sun, One World, One Grid. Yes, in terms of CDRI, Coalition for Disaster Resilient Infrastructure, all such things you can discuss. How is India's climate change approach different from that of China? China believes in peaking of carbon dioxide emission, but India does not believe in peaking. It wants a general decline in कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड एमिशन. हमारे पंचामृत गोल्स क्या है ना, विच मोदी पीएम मोदी हैड articulated as during the Glasgow COP and in 2021, that Panchamrit goals also we can focus upon. So climate diplomacy continues to be relevant to the recent most COP. उसके क्या important declarations थे वो भी आप देख सकते हो. Next would be Ukraine war much in news. Yes, so Ukraine war, Russia-Ukraine war, where is it headed? What is India's stand? Can India play the role of the peacemaker? Yes, all such ideas. If it comes to an end, maybe we can tackle the threat from the tariff threats from US better. Yes, you can focus on that. Apart from it, though we have concluded CETA with UK only recently, but still then, if you have time, maybe just go through CETA that we have signed with UK. Fine. So these are some of the issues which we think would be relevant as far as this year's mains is concerned. Fine. Now, how to approach the paper? As far as how to approach the paper, first and foremost point that I want to highlight as far as approaching the UPSC paper for mains is, please focus on what is known as analysis. Yes, UPSC always wants to know why. It is not interested so much in mere description. Yes, descriptive answers have limited use. Yes, what they want is to know the analysis, why and how things happened. Yes, so why aspect has to be emphasized. I always say whenever a statement is given in the question, if the question has a statement, you will substantiate the statement. Yes, any given statement, generally you will have questions which start with a statement. So you will substantiate the statement. And how do you substantiate the statement? It has two components. You will answer why. You will give the reason as to why such a thing is, along with substantiate with certain facts or certain data or certain report. Yes, so the fact and data has utility in proving that it is not a mere conjecture of your mind. Rather, what you are saying is substantiated by the facts, by the experts who have gathered these data. Yes, so in case of GSIR answers, though we are not quoting scholars and experts, we can take references, we can quote External Affairs Ministry, S. Ajay Shankar, PM Modi, the heads of the government and heads of state of the various countries, their foreign ministers can be quoted. Yes, and general facts and data, as I was telling you, say in the Indian Ocean region, what is the bulk trade that passes through it, the oil trade that passes through it, what is the amount of global trade that passes through the Hormuz Strait. Yes, all such data should be there on your fingertips. Yes, so as far as, let's see what we have mentioned, how to approach the answers. So as far as approaching the question and writing an answer, first and foremost, you will pay attention to the directive in the question asked. So is it discuss, is it evaluate, or is it critically analyze? Yes, we are going to focus on the directive. Now, also let me tell you, irrespective of the directive, you will mention what is India's interest, you will highlight the challenges, and wherever possible suggest way forward. So irrespective of the directive, even if the question says discuss, discuss generally means more of description. Tell how things have happened. Yes, but we will not end at description, because we understand UPSC inherently wants analysis. So once we have described, we will also give a short analysis. We will highlight the challenges. We will highlight India's interest. And if we are highlighting the challenges, we will also suggest the way forward. Yes, so that is going to be my approach in the answer writing, of course, but I will pay attention to the directive, how much, in understanding what weightage should I give to which part of my answer. So my answer, as I told you, will always comprise some analysis, some challenges and way forward, and of course India's interest. But where is the weightage to be allotted? So discuss will tell me. Also describe as things have happened, maybe chronologically trace it. When I say chronologically trace it, I do not want you to write history of the bilateral ties. Yes, only maximum 15 marker, maximum 250 words you have to write. The focus has to be the current aspect. Historical aspect पे आप पूरा आंसर नहीं लिख सकते. Yes, so it is in this context, but if the question is described, so maybe I can trace with 1 or 2 points, है ना, the development. I can describe how things have been. Evaluate means analyze. Yes, evaluate the pros and cons. Yes, evaluate the achievements and challenges. So you will do this, you will evaluate the issue, you will evaluate India's stand vis-a-vis Russia. Is it good for India? Is it not good for India? How does it benefit India-US how does it impact India-US relation? How would it benefit India-Russia? Does it augur well for India's strategic autonomy? Yes, which has been the primary concern of foreign policy of India. And then critically analyze. If the question says critically analyze, my focus has to be primarily on the challenges. Yes, so the weightage, in 250 words, I will allot around 50% of my answer to the challenges. Yes, maximum weightage has to be towards the challenges, the issues, and of course, after highlighting the challenges and issues, I will also give the way forward. And if I am going to highlight the challenges and issues, that does not mean, agar question aa raha hai, critically analyze, that does not mean we turn our eye blind towards the achievements, towards the advantages, the good points. So we will mention them also, but the greater focus will be on challenges. Yes, so that is the utility as far as the directive is concerned. Despite the fact that all answers in IR, I'm repeating once again, will show India's interest, will mention the challenges, and will mention the way forward. Yes, then next is link the foreign policy with India's constitutional value under Article 51 to promote international peace and global security. Global peace and security, to abide by international law. This is part of the constitutional value. That is the directive that the Constituent Assembly has given to Indian policy makers. Yes, so you find that we will link India's foreign policy with Indian constitutional values. We can also link it with Indian civilizational values. For example, if a question comes on, yes, India's candidature, evaluate India's candidature as a permanent member of UNSC. So we do mention that Indian civilizational values are in consonance with the UN goals. India is a unique country in that regard. Fine, so civilizational values hain kya hamare वैसे? It is Vasudeva. Be careful with the spelling. Yes, it is a Sanskrit word. Yes, so Vasudeva Kutumbakam, non-violence, Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah. Yes, all these are our civilizational values. Then you can link our foreign policy with Panchsheel, NAM, strategic autonomy is also one very important ideas in terms of India-US relations presently, a lot of emphasis. Yes, on strategic autonomy, we are not ready to accept US pressure, to succumb under US pressure on Russian sanctions. Yes, this policy of multiple alignment that we have been pursuing is with the goal of strategic autonomy, to augment strategic autonomy. Non-alignment was to augment strategic autonomy. Presently, what we are pursuing is issue-based partnership, sabka saath, sabka vishwas, even at the international level. Use chronology only if relevant. Yes, once again we are emphasizing this idea because in IR students especially have the tendency of listing down the chronology of events. Please be mindful, only if it is relevant you list it down, otherwise we have paucity of time and paucity of words in which you need to express your ideas. So go strike the question, what the question is asking in the introduction, strike that. Yes, tell the examiner, yes, this is what you are asking and this is what I'm going to give you. Yes, this is my answer. So in those 250 words, 150, 250 words, we are going to strike the question directly. Avoid lengthy history because it is sheer wastage of words, and especially in the context, wastage of words and time, and especially in the context where you have allocated space in the question paper itself. So your answer script has the question and the space allocated for it. So if you are going to write redundant information, you will not have space to write the necessary information. So be careful. Always connect with contemporary developments. Yes, so we will be highlighting, whatever, we will highlight the contemporary development if we can identify the recent context in which the question has been asked. Very well and good. You will get, the examiner will of course appreciate that you are aware of the current developments. Fine. Answer writing and presentation. So how to go about answer writing and presentation? Yes, so it is a GS answer, but it is not a geography answer also. So it is not compulsory that you draw maps. But if you can draw maps, well and good, but do not spend too much of time there. You can practice a few maps. If a question comes directly from that area, you draw a map. For example, one popular area where students do draw a map happens to be Indo-Pacific. Yes, with respect to BRI, if you can show that, there is an on-land component and on-sea component, maybe with respect to neighborhood country, maybe with respect to say India-Bhutan relations and the Doklam जो disputed hai between China and Bhutan is located at that trilateral. Maybe with respect to Kala Pani dispute, if we can maybe draw a diagram, but it is not necessary. If you have practiced it beforehand, only then try and do it in the exam, otherwise do not waste time. Yes, if you draw it, it gives you maybe a brownie point because the presentation improves, but if you have not practiced it, you will not lose marks for not drawing the map. That is the point. Yes, so if you have not practiced, please do not draw it in the exam. Do not try it in the very first attempt in the exam. Don't do that. Yes, in your answers, quote India's official doctrines such as neighborhood first, and a Vision Sagar, Act East, Global South leadership, all these ideas. And the terms like polycrisis, world undergoing polycrisis, yes, economic fragmentation, deglobalization, de-dollarization, ये जो vocabulary है subject की उसको quote करो plus government of India policy को quote करो. Add reports and data, I've already told, to substantiate your analysis. Yes, to give evidence to your analysis, you can quote data from World Bank, IMF, CIPRI. Yes, and write balanced answer. As I was telling you, even if the question is saying critically analyze, but that does not mean we turn our eye blind towards the positive aspects. Yes, so we will mention the positive aspects, but we will know where is the weightage of the question. पॉजिटिव ज़्यादा डिस्कस करना है या नेगेटिव डिस्कस करना है या बिल्कुल बैलेंस्ड आंसर लिखना है. सो दैट वुड बी डिसाइडेड. You have to be mindful as to what the question is asking, but even if the answer is negative, critically analyze. Few positive, you have done a critical analysis, but after giving way forward towards the conclusion, show that you are a positive person, you are a hopeful person who believes that positive changes can come about. Yes, so end answers on a hopeful note. Do not end your answers uh, with a doomsday prediction. Yes, show opportunities. Yes, all such things you need to, and challenges in the relations. Yes, finally is the D-Day exam tips. So on the day of the exam, what are the certain tips that we would want to share with you? First and foremost, attempt all the questions. Please do not miss out on questions because of sheer time mismanagement. Yes, try and attempt all the questions. Even if you do not know a particular question, write what you know. Of course, it has to be in context of the question asked. The question is asking India Pakistan relation. You are writing India Maldives relation. That does not really work. Yes, so you have to answer in context of the question that is asked. Even if you do not know the complete answer, and write what you know. Maybe write government of India's policy vis-a-vis say Pakistan. Yes, what is government of India's stand vis-a-vis Pakistan? So basically, whatever you know, and in context of the question that is asked, even if you write that, you will get few points, you will get few marks. Yes, so even partially written answers from India's perspective. Yes, emphasize on India's perspective. Do not panic if a question is vague, because that question would be vague for not just you, for all. And it is a competitive exam at the end of the day. So if a question is difficult, if the question paper is difficult, it would be difficult for all. And it is about relative performance. Yes, even vis-a-vis vague question, you can mention India's stand and the current context. Yes, so why this bilateral tie, why this trilateral relation was in news, why this organization was in news in the recent times, and what is India's perspective on it. Wherever possible, you can use flowcharts for certain frameworks. So what is India's foreign policy priority? The neighborhood first policy ke what are the 4 or 5 tenets of neighborhood first policy, the 5 S's of India's foreign policy. Yes, so you can, for all such ideas, you can use a flowchart. Yes, fine. With this, I would just like to conclude by saying that in IR, yes, in IR, the examiners reward answers that are contemporary, India-centric and balanced. Yes, so you have to write an answer in contemporary context. You have to quote the current development, India's perspective plus balanced, challenges and opportunities both. Do not just describe the relation, analyze India's interest and challenges, then suggest a constructive way forward. Yes, so this is the approach that you will be following when it comes to IR-based questions. All the very best from my end. I hope all of you do very well. Trust in the effort that you have put in, trust in your preparation. Yes, and with a cool mind, write the answers, attempt the question paper on that day. I guess you all have prepared sufficiently. You all have prepared, keeping in mind time management. Even on that very day, maybe keep your head cool and be cautious about time. Yes, do not go with the flow too much. Yes, try and write balanced answers. You have to, you will be attempting 20 questions. Yes, and in fact, the examiner generally reads the first questions first in the question paper, because now you have the booklet type of question paper and answer script combined. So there you please write balanced answers, well thought of answers. Do not scribble. Yes, keep your answers presentable. And by doing so, if you have put an earnest effort during those days of the exam, and I hope you will all do very well. Yes, Just eat well, sleep well, keep yourself hydrated, and keep a cool demeanor. Do not get overtly excited or overtly stressed looking at the paper. Just with a cool mind, take each question in its stride. Yes, one question at a time. You might have answered the previous question very well or not very well. And one question at a time, one ball at a time, जैसे मैच खेलते हैं, you also write one question at a time, and I'm sure you will all do well. It is just a matter of just being there and giving your best. All the very best from my end. May God bless you. May all your efforts come to you as sweetest sweets. All the very best from my end, and God bless you. Thank you. Thank you so much.